Hello students, we are going to study chapter number 8, Respiration and Circulation. In this chapter there are two major topics, respiration and circulation. We are first going to study the topic respiration in three different videos. Today we are going to study we'll see the first part of the respiration chapter. Come on, let's move ahead. Hello students, welcome to the first video of the topic respiration in chapter number 8, respiration and circulation. As I said earlier, we are going to see it in a series of videos. We are starting with respiration. Now what do you mean by respiration? Why is it required? If I ask you a very simple question, that why do you have lunch, breakfast, dinner every day? Obviously the answer would be to have energy. Now, how do you obtain this energy from food? The food is oxidized to give you energy, that is ATP molecules, and this can take place only when oxygen you get through respiration. So, how are you going to define respiration? It can be defined as a biochemical process of oxidation of organic compounds in an orderly manner for liberation of chemical energy in the form of ATP. Now, what do you mean by this orderly manner? There are a series of reactions what goes on where the food material with the help of oxygen is broken down to give you your 38 ATP molecules of energy. This can take place in stepwise and sequential manner. The whole energy is not released at once. In one single step, you will not get those 38 molecules. Next question would be, all organisms respire. That means, do plants respire along with doing photosynthesis? Of course, they do. Plants do respire. Gases exchange takes place in plants. Now, how do they do it? They do it with the help of diffusion. A plant which lives on the land, that is a terrestrial flowering plant, they have many continuous air spaces between the stem, leaf and root cells. So in these places, the exchange will take place. The leaves have small openings called as stomata. Through this stomata, the oxygen will enter inside and carbon dioxide is given out along with water vapor. Now what about the roots? How do they respire? Around the roots, there is a thin layer of oxygen, which is dissolved as a film of water and moisture around the root tissue. Through this, diffusion takes place and oxygen enters into the roots. Now, what about the plants, that is the trees, which have a bark-like structure? In them, respiration takes place with the help of lenticels, the openings which help in gases exchange. Next, we come to animals. So, do animals respire? Of course, animals respire. And for respiration, there is something called as the respiratory surface. Respiratory surface, any respiratory surface needs to have the following characteristic, without which respiration may not be possible. Now what is it? The first one is it should be moist. The second one is it should have a large surface area. It should be thin, highly vascular, and it should allow the exchange of gases. As the evolution of animals took place, the respiratory surfaces also started evolving, and by the time from small organisms like amoeba, paramecium, where the respiratory surface or the organ was just the plasma membrane, a highly developed respiratory system was developed in animals like man, other mammals, etc. We are going to see some of the respiratory organs in the animals. The first one, the protists, sponges, coelenterate, they are aquatic, and in them the respiratory surface is plasma membrane. Earthworms, amphibians, they are aquatic or semi-aquatic, and for them it is either the skin or plasma membrane. Insects, now these were the picture is of fish, flatworms. The insects, how do they respire? At the sides, they have small hole-like structures which are called as spiracles, which leads to trachea and helps in respiratory system in the body. Spiders, scorpions, they have book lungs. Limulus have book gills. Tadpoles of frogs, they have external gills. Fish have internal gills, and mammals have lungs. Turtles who are underwater, when they are underwater, they do respiration with the help of cloaca. We come next to the respiratory system in man. The respiratory system in man can be divided into an upper respiratory system and the lower respiratory system. We come to the first part, that is the nose. They are a pair of slit-like openings called as external nares or nostrils. They are divided into right and left nasal chamber by a mesenteroid cartilage. There's a cartilage which divides it into two nasal chambers. The nasal chamber is further divided into three regions. The first one is vestibule. It is a proximal part above the nostrils. It has hair which helps in filtering. The air which we breathe in and trapping the dust and suspended particles in the inhaled air. The second part is the respiratory part or conditioner. It is highly vascular part for warming and moistening the inhaled air. That is, when you breathe in through your nose, your air is slightly warm. The third one is olfactory or sensory chamber, which helps in the detection of smell. That is why it is always said that you should be breathing in through your nose. You can just try this at your home. Just put your fist up and breathe out through your nose and then just blow air out through your mouth. What you would observe, that is, when you are breathing out through the nose, the air will be slightly warmer. We go on to the next organ, that is pharynx. It is divided into three parts. The first part, the uppermost part, is called as nasopharynx. This is a picture which shows the upper respiratory tract. We come back to nasopharynx. It is the uppermost part of the nasal chamber. The second part is called as the palate bone, which is between the two parts, and the last one is called as laryngopharynx. The pharynx also has a set of lymphoid organs called as tonsils. Next is the larynx, which is a voice box. It is very important for producing sound. The larynx starts from laryngopharynx and the hyoid bone till the trachea. This is a picture which shows the voice box, larynx till the windpipe. There are a pair of elastic vocal cords which helps in producing the sound and is also assisted by your tongue, teeth, lips and glottis. There's a small leaf-like structure called as epiglottis, which helps in preventing the entry of food into the trachea. Next, we come to the trachea. It is a long tube which is 10 to 12 centimeter in length and is supported by C-shaped cartilages so that it does not collapse. It also has epithelial lining and mucus glands, which helps in trapping the unwanted particles which enters inside the lungs. Next is your bronchia. The trachea goes further down and divides into the right and the left primary bronchi. They are also supported by C-shaped incomplete rings of cartilage. The primary bronchi is further divided into secondary and tertiary, and it ultimately leads into alveoli. The singular for alveoli will be alveolus. Next, we come to lungs. Here there's a picture which is showing the alveolar, the bronchioles and the whole human respiratory system as such. We come to lungs. There is a right lung and the left lung. They are enclosed and protected by they are enclosed and protected by double pleural membrane. Outer one is called as parietal while the inner one is called as visceral. In between the two there is pleural fluid. They help in the protection of the lung and keep it moist. The right lung is larger and divided into 3 lobes, while the left lung is smaller and divided into 2 lobes. The terminal bronchioles, they end into bunch of air sacs, each with 10 to 12 alveoli, which is very nicely seen in the picture which is there in the slide. Alveolus is surrounded by a network of capillaries, of pulmonary arteries and veins. They are highly elastic and they are made up of a single layer of epithelium. They look like a bunch of grapes. There are approximately about 700 million alveoli in the lungs, and this provides a vast surface area for the exchange of gases. There's also a diaphragm, which is a septum which divides the thoracic, that is the chest, and the abdominal cavity. It is dome shaped and on contraction it becomes flattened. This is the human respiratory system. This is the first video. We'll further study about the mechanism of respiration in the next video. Thank you.